I entered their lives hoping to belong, never imagining I'd be pushed aside. Still, love has a stubborn way of persisting, no matter how many times it's tested. My name is Elena. I'm 30, and for a long time, I believed that choosing a family meant being chosen back. Years ago, I was only a friend, watching helplessly as Mark's world fell apart. Claire, his wife, had left abruptly, vanishing without warning to chase a career she claimed she deserved. He was devastated. She hadn't just left a husband, she had left 2 children, Sophie and Noah, 10 and 12, to navigate a fractured home. I wanted to step in, to comfort Mark, to help the kids, but I didn't. It wasn't my place. All I could do was watch as he gathered the broken pieces of his life, as his days filled with work schedules, school drop-offs, and 2 children forced to grow up too fast. My own career flourished, and life carried me elsewhere. Years later, we reconnected. We were both in our 30s, still friends, still laughing at the same ridiculous jokes. But this time, something shifted. Friendship slowly became something more. Late-night conversations, long walks through the park, dinners that stretched into the night. Before we realized it, we were inseparable. It was only after we had been together for some time that Mark invited me to his home to meet Sophie and Noah. Those first visits were painfully awkward. Sophie nodded cautiously. Noah barely looked up from his book. I remembered how suddenly Claire had left and how fragile the family had been. Trust couldn't be rushed. It had to be earned. So I stayed. I showed up consistently, helping them explore their hobbies, joining Noah in his sketching experiments, cheering for Sophie during her weekend soccer matches, dragging them to parks where we built makeshift obstacle courses and climbed jungle gyms together, sharing laughter and scraped knees alike. I learned the little things. Noah's way of observing nature with quiet fascination, Sophie's unstoppable curiosity, the songs they made up while running around our neighborhood. I celebrated their small victories, their first goals in soccer, Noah's sketches displayed on the fridge, Sophie's persistence in mastering a tricky dance routine. Slowly, they began to notice me, not out of obligation, but because they wanted to. By the time Mark proposed, I was fully woven into their lives. It happened one evening, after the children were asleep. We were sitting on the couch, talking about everything and nothing, when he turned to me and said, "Elena, I can't imagine my life without you. Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down my face as I said yes. The children were ecstatic. They wanted to help with everything. In the months that followed, wedding preparations became a family affair. Saturday mornings were spent making invitations, Sophie carefully choosing colors and drawing tiny hearts, Noah grumbling about glitter while secretly lining up the envelopes perfectly. We tasted cakes together. Sophie insisted on sampling 3 flavors, while Noah approached each bite with scientific seriousness. I helped the kids choose their outfits. Sophie wanted a dress she declared fit for a princess. Noah took charge of coordinating socks and shoes. One afternoon, we built a blanket fort in the living room, laughing like children, while Mark watched from the doorway, smiling. In those moments, I wasn't a visitor. I belonged. Then Claire appeared. No warning and no knock. Just her calm, sharp voice. "I hear there's a wedding." Mark froze. Sophie stopped spinning. Noah's hands went slack against my veil. "Claire, what are you doing here?" Mark asked carefully. "I want to see the kids," she said, never once looking at me. "I want to be part of their lives again." The whispers started immediately. Some said she must have reconsidered after hearing Mark would marry someone else. Others speculated she had failed in her career. A few suggested she truly wanted to rebuild her family. No one knew the real reason, but one thing was clear. She was trying to take back the family I had painstakingly mended with my heart. In the weeks that followed, she appeared everywhere. Fittings, cake tastings, even uninvited at our venue. Mark, conflicted and hesitant, allowed it. Sophie grew anxious. Noah withdrew. And slowly, painfully, I felt my place being challenged despite the years I'd spent earning it. The truth revealed itself gradually. Mark hadn't let go of Claire. He still loved her, not loudly, not with anger, but in the way he softened when he spoke her name, lingered on the past, defended her. Eventually, he admitted it outright. He wanted to try again. For the children, for our family. His extended family agreed. They said the children deserved their biological parents together. I listened. I nodded. But with every word, I felt myself shrinking, like a placeholder in a story that had begun long before me. And yet, the children stayed. Sophie climbed into my bed on tense nights. Noah whispered secrets meant only for me. One evening, Sophie said softly, "You're the one who stayed." That sentence broke me open and stitched me back together all at once. I was torn between leaving to protect myself and staying to protect the two people who needed me most. Every day beside Mark became a choice between love and pain. Every hug from the children reminded me of what I would lose if I walked away. In the end, Mark made his choice. He chose Claire, not with anger or drama, but with quiet certainty. The children were devastated. Still, they clung to me, proving that bonds built through care, consistency, and love can be stronger than blood alone. I left the engagement, but I didn't leave the children. I stayed in their lives, protecting them, supporting them, loving them. And they reminded me every day that the love I gave was never wasted. Some time passed. Then came the next chapter. Claire left again. Another opportunity had opened, and she felt she had no choice but to take it. Mark tried, desperately, to coax her back, to convince her to stay. But she could not be stopped, nor delayed. She left again. Mark sank into misery once more, drowning in sorrow as his wife ran from him for the second time. People around him whispered, quietly, cruelly, he had missed the chance to be with a present partner, someone who loved him and his children, who had chosen them and stayed. He had wasted that opportunity, chasing someone who was always a flight risk. But this time, the children had me. I was their anchor. We explored parks together, biked along riversides, painted murals on rainy afternoons, played board games that turned into elaborate stories, and got lost in imaginary adventures. I cheered for their small triumphs. I stayed calm through their setbacks. I was present in ways that had been uncertain before. They had someone steady, someone who wouldn't leave. And slowly, they began to flourish again, not in spite of the pain, but because of the consistency and love I offered. Some things fail, some people leave, but love, steady, patient, unshakable love, endures. Sophie hugs me. Noah offers that shy, knowing smile, and I understand now, even if I wasn't the ending in Mark's story, in theirs. I am irreplaceable. I am real, and so is the love.